So I'm a new dad, and I think like all new dads or all new dad bag enthusiasts kind of struggle with the same thing. What dad bag are we going to use? And I think that this is kind of like the type of thing that it works for different people in different ways. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for things that I've learned in the first 5 months or so of dad bagging that have worked for me. So let's get into it. So we're gonna start out with the basics, and the basics are the bag, obviously. And the bag really, what I'm gonna say to start is it doesn't matter a whole lot. Obviously, there are some things that make a dad bag better, or that make a bag better for being a dad bag, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need those things for to have a good one. So I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks that kind of work for any kind of bag. You could use something like this. This is an inside line equipment race day, and I'm gonna tell you why I think this is one of the better ones you can have. I mean, you could use something like this old mystery wrench. This one's a little small, but it would do the trick as a dad bag. No bottle pockets and stuff, so it might not be as good as this for dad bagging, but it's a, you know, you could use anything. Back to this one, and all jokes aside, there is a video about that bag, the previous one, coming up soon, and it has been very fun to use. Now, when we talk about the bag, I'll tell you a couple of things that I think are necessary for me when it comes to dad bagging, and probably why I think this inside line equipment is probably one of the better ones I've used. So, the first thing I've realized with dad bags that I think is a very important feature that not a lot of people are gonna love, and if you're not a dad yet, you probably won't get it. And a lot of these tips are for like new dads. Obviously, like when you get in the groove, you figure out how to deal with all this stuff in different ways. But when you're new, like I am, and like other people happen to be, you kind of need everything to work for you, if possible, please. This front pocket here, which is technically a helmet pocket, I find these stuff it style pockets great for dad bagging. In my video yesterday, I showed the dragon from Mystery Ranch, and I showed how like the dragon, it has like a stuff it thing, and I had my daughter's toy in there. While the toy was kind of for a bit of a joke, and obviously it was a bit of a joke, but the point is that those type of pockets work very well. Now I find this one works great. So basically it's attached here, and it's attached with these two strap thingies, but you don't actually have to do that up. And what I have in there is this. Now this is a baby sling. This is something you're gonna need unless you have arms of steel. If you're one of the guys who are like jumping through ponds and face deep in mud in GORUCK events, you probably don't need this, but I'm not that guy and I definitely need it. So this is a baby sling. This is something I'd highly recommend carrying. It's very like annoying to carry. Now you might say, Josh, put it in a pouch. The problem with a pouch is the barrier to grab this when you're in a pouch, you don't have time. So having it just jammed in here, so like when the situation arises and you just pull it on out, is very useful. That is something that's gonna be a theme of this video. Time is of the essence. You kind of want things that work quickly. So that's why I think this stuff it pocket is great for that. So you could throw in this, and you could throw in almost anything into this pocket, a jacket, a t-shirt, whatever you need, quickly. The second tip I'm gonna give you is always carry a carabiner. This is a hero clip. So let's see. You can see there, that's a hero clip. Hero clip's a specific, like a very useful type of carabiner that sort of does one of these things, and you can hang the bag up. Now what I'm gonna say is, you will find yourself in precarious situations where hanging the bag, or hanging this, or hanging any number of things will be very useful. That's why I think having one of these, or even two, can be very useful to dad bagging. I definitely recommend having one. Just today, for example, I attached my daughter's, what do you call that? The dummy thing to the bag with this so that it was easier to grab. I attached it onto these loops, these webbing loops up on the front here. You can put it anywhere as long as it's easy to grab. Now, another tip I'm gonna give you when it comes to dad bags, and see this material? So that material right there is X-Pack. X-Pack is a good material for dads, and I'll tell you why. Because vomit or any other type of excrement will just kind of go right off it. It'll just wash right off it, which is very useful because your bag is bound to get dirty. That goes for both the interior and the exterior. So if you look here, if I show you inside the pocket, that is just the liner, which is also that X-Pack, and which will also be able to be washed quickly. Okay, so that's sort of the first thing, the first group of tips. Now, getting back to the bag, there's a couple more things I want to talk about before we get into the other parts of this. Having comfortable straps are always important, I think, for a dad bag because you tend to be carrying your bag a lot. I don't like bags that are complicated for dad bagging because when they're complicated, they're cumbersome. I don't like a lot of dangle. This doesn't have a whole lot of dangle. These straps are comfortable enough. Now, this bag is kind of moofy, so I added my own frame sheet, which I'll talk about later. But generally speaking, this bag is comfortable. Comfortable is good. Another thing I find very important is a bag that stands up on its own, which this does. The reason that's obviously important is because you can plop the bag down and work out of it. Since we're up here at the top, another thing I think is very important about having a good dad bag is to have at least one big dump quick access pocket with so for example, there is no organization in this pocket here, this lit pocket. It's on the top, very easy to get to, and I just dump all my stuff in. Because what ends up happening is, say if you have some cute little loops here and your wallet's in that loop, that's great at the beginning of the day. When you're dad bagging, by the end of the day, this wallet is just chucked in here with a plethora of other things that weren't in there at the beginning of the day. So having a big, like at least medium-sized dump pocket is very, very useful when you're dad bagging. This bag has a great, big pocket here on the top that's very easy to get to, and I find that to be very useful when I'm out on the go. The mystery wrench bag I showed yesterday has a lid pocket that does a similar thing. This one is even bigger than that. It's a little bit more floppy, but it's bigger and it does the trick. Top handle. It has a top handle. Now, one thing I think that works very well for dad bags is quick entry into the main compartment, which I'm going to talk about in a minute because I forgot one more thing. Water bottle pockets are very useful, especially ones that are big enough. This one is big enough. There's one on both sides. Great for, well, water. Or if you're dad bagging, you can stick a beer in there if you're having one of those days. There are bottle pockets on both sides. I highly recommend it. Even if you're the type of guy who's like, I don't need a water bottle, man. Well, I don't need a water bottle either, but having those pockets is very useful. Especially if your bag doesn't have this pocket, because then these pockets become the my wife wants to jam her cell phone into something nearby pockets. True story. Now, with this particular bag, one reason I think this bag works amazingly as a dad bag, and why I think, if you guys are in the market for one and you don't have anything to get, this is, one of the best options right now. Again, inside, line, equipment, race day. Now, so you saw that this unclips, but this flap will flap over even if you don't have this clipped up, and then the things in here will stay secure because it's all the way around, even if this is not done up. So very useful there. If you flop this open, you can't really get into the top super well. You see that? It's sort of like a gaping maw. It's not even gaping, it's like a tight maw, if there's such thing as that, and it just sort of goes down in there. I don't ever tend to use that, but what this bag has, which is very useful, is you open it up and you see this kind of handle here, you'd be like, hey Josh, what's that handle for? Well, what it's for is just kind of doing this. And that is very, very useful. This bag has YKK number 10 USA zippers on both sides, which is great. And I'm not going to talk too much about the details of the bag per se because, well, I'm trying to give you some tips here. When you pull it, you can pull it halfway, like this. So what I tend to do sometimes in use is I will have this bag like this, and I'll either do it up, and that's something, an important point here. So if the bag is done up like this, you can still undo this and get into the side here if you really need to get something out of the bag without pulling the whole thing. But I do like plopping it down and, okay, diaper change time, and you're rolling. You're rolling. Now, pouches. Pouches are key to dad bagging. Don't think you're just gonna have one bag, because that's not how this works. We're bag nerds. Bag nerds have lots of bags. You're not ever gonna settle on one. There's gonna be a day when you really want it. You really want to take that brand new GORUCK you just got, and you're gonna take it no matter what. So here we are. We have pouches because you can just mix and match. Now, each of these pouches has a specific use here, and I'm going to talk about why I think these are my favorite for dad bagging at the moment, but I mean, anything similar will work for you. So the first one I'm going to talk about is this Dadsfanny. Now, this Dadsfanny, obviously, it's named the Dadsfanny, and it is a Fanny Pack. I have a full review of this coming up. I'm not going to talk too much about it. It has very nice YKK AquaGuard zippers, and it's just a nice bag. So I actually keep my stuff in here, not the diaper stuff. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but basically what this is this is Dad's pouch. So in here, this is Dad's little space to survive. Dad's things are in here, anything I might need on the quick. And also, what ends up happening in Korea often, and this is probably not the case for you, is this bag will be left in the car, and we're only going out for 30 minutes, going around somewhere. That's when I grab Dad's bag, and what I will do is I will unzip the bottom here, and then there is a killer bottle pocket here for your baby bottle. I will put my baby bottle in there, one diaper in, and I am rolling. Gone from Dad's cool Fanny to, well, Dad's Fanny. Anyway, this is a great pouch. Again, highly recommended. Something I would say get if you're interested in it. So that's one. Have a pouch for you. That one's great because I can also wear it when I go. Another pouch that you're gonna need is something for diapers, hand wipes, and that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna tell you what to take for your baby. Everybody is different. I'm just gonna tell you that generally speaking, you do need, well, you need diapers. That's kind of how it works, especially emergency diapers. So I use this GORUCK Wire-dopp. This Wire-dopp is, well, it's been repurposed like 150 times, but that's the beauty of this particular pouch. Basically, I would recommend using pouches with mesh. The reason I recommend using pouches with mesh is because you can see what the hell is going on. When you're under pressure, and there's poo shooting out everywhere, you really need to know where you're digging. And if that's there, I know where the Huggies whatever wipes are, and I know where the diapers are, and I don't have to stress the hell out about where they are. I tend to, when we are like kind of done for the day, I'll fold it up. When the day has begun, I'll put it something like this, and I will work out of it, and I will replenish it at the end of every day. What I have in here: diapers, wet wipes, a bib, and some socks, and a face cloth. And I also carry like a very small pocket knife in here. You might say, why? Well, you never know. And that has actually come in handy quite a bit. It has tweezers in it and some other things. Keep it in here because this tends to be the moment when you would need it. So there's that. Anything like this would work. The Tombin Snake Charmer is a very good option, or anything like that, but I do definitely recommend something with mesh. Now we're into the nitty gritty. So I have my sweater here because it's starting to get cold in Korea. I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but it's there. This is a key item for any dad bag. This is a cooler or something to put your bottles in, basically. And I would recommend using something like this, because what happens is with this is at the end of the day, I can bring it home and put it on the counter next to the where all the bottles and everything are, and then we just replenish it when we're ready to go. Right now I just emptied it, so there's nothing in it, but you can see, like, I would have, like, say a bottle here, another bottle here, and another some water, and, you know, some formula and all that. What I would say about this guy is also this is where we put our, like, kind of dummies and toys that she likes to suck on. The reason is, obviously, this is clean, right? I mean, clean-ish at least. This is the Able Carry cooler, but I mean, there are other options in this world. This just happens to be the one that works good for me. I like that it's thin, and it works very well with this Wire-dopp because together, they basically take up the space of like one fat pouch. So that works for me. Now we're getting into the inside of the bag. I'm going to talk a little bit about the bag specifically now, the reason why I like this one. So on this flap here, there are these two zippered pockets, and they are mesh. So all I have in this top one is hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is useful, obviously. Down here I have a bigger pocket knife that just kind of has scissors and all that kind of stuff to be used later, but you could use these pockets for other things. You might say, Josh, why not use these for diapers? I just told you why, because when I get my new GORUCK, I want to flip into that guy for a little bit, and that makes it easier. Although this bag, I think, is going to be like kind of one of the mainstay diaper bags. Inside this bag, I'll take out my sweater so you can see a little bit better. So inside this bag, basically what you have is you have these two mesh pockets on the side here. Very similar to like what a mystery wrench bag does, although they're usually up here on a mystery wrench bag. These mesh pockets are very useful because when you unzip the bag here, you can get into the sides here. What I have in the side here is one of those battery bank things and cable. This is USB-C to C. Good idea, right, Josh? Wrong! This is a terrible idea. Why? Well, let me show you. What you really need is one of these. 3 ends. So you got 3 ends on here. One is micro USB, one is USB-C, one is lightning. Why, pray tell, is this important? Well, basically you'll find that baby stuff tends to use micro USB still. So yeah, you might be saying, Josh, well, we both use iPhones. Yeah, well, that's great, but you might both use iPhones, but your baby's Momomo thing, tablet, whatever you happen to carry with your baby might need USB-C or micro USB. So I recommend definitely carrying one of these guys instead and keeping it around your diaper bag. And they are cheap and inexpensive. And yeah, I actually used it today because we have this thing that kind of sanitizes. Does that make sense? Sanitize? No, not sanitize. Yeah, I guess sanitize. It sanitizes the dummy thing, and it uses micro USB. So there you go. I charged it with that, and it was great. This bag also has this great feature here, which is great for a dad bag, which is this kind of stuff sack in the back. That's great for when things get a little dirty. So what I tend to do is put like a plastic bag back here, plastic bag, key in this case, plastic bag, put the dirty stuff in the plastic bag, jam it down there, zipper it or like cinch it up, and you're kind of like, at least it's out of sight, out of mind. And well, it's out of sight, out of mind. Might not be out of scent, but you get what I'm saying. So that's basically it. I mean, there's not a whole lot else to talk about when it comes to dad bagging, but this is only round 1 of this sort of dad bagging tips and tricks video. But it is kind of, I mean, something that has plagued me, something that has bothered me. I play with all kinds of bags, as I showed in my video yesterday. I used the Dragon from Mystery Ranch, and it did basically the same thing. This one is probably like one I would recommend to almost every new dad. I don't know what it costs. I think it's like $200 or something. It's made in the USA. It's made in California. It's meant for like racing your bicycle or something like that, but it works very, very well. And honestly, it's very similar to that Mystery Ranch. Like, this Mystery Ranch is, well, it's not $200, and the way that this bag works is actually very similar to this one. It has the water bottle pockets on the inside here. It has this dual opening thing. It actually doesn't, looks like it has a quick access here, but what it actually does is it goes into the main capacity of the bag, so it's not particularly a quick access, although it sort of acts like one because you can kind of get into, you can use this sort of velcroed part as a quick access. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. This bag is probably as close to that as you're gonna get, and it's very floppy, and it tends to be the type of bag that you would just feel comfortable chucking around and you know, just using as you will. So I would say if you're in the market for a dad bag, this is a good one. I have other videos on different ones coming up soon, but that's kind of it. So hopefully some of these tips and tricks will work for you. If they don't, I apologize. If you have any tips and tricks for me, feel free to let me know, because I am still struggling with what I am doing. But you know, we're trying. We're getting by. We're getting by. I'm gonna repack it now. I honestly have no idea how many liters this bag is, but it feels like it carries a lot. All right, so that's it. Talk soon, kids. Bye-bye.